I'm Tom Witcherley. I'm the co-founder of Make Agency. I sort of head up the digital and creative part of the agency, more of the sort of day-to-day studio type things, and actually my business partner takes care of more of the new business type. Yeah, my background is actually at a much larger agency as a digital creative. I worked in a much bigger team with sort of a mix of graphic designers, web developers, marketeers, and I almost headed up the sort of digital creative side of things. The initial challenges, I think, were mainly down to money, to be honest. We knew if we had jobs, we also had these freelance clients, so we almost had like two incomes coming in. Obviously, that we had the security from having a job. So the main one was cash. And when we decided we were going to leave our jobs and start something ourselves, we knew we'd have to have an office or somewhere to work from, and just the initial cost to get yourself set up and get yourself a deposit for an office and computers and desks and all of those sort of things, those costs add up massively. It goes from doing a few freelance jobs to having to have thousands of pounds to move in somewhere, and we didn't have any sort of loans or any sort of financial backing like that. Obviously, we just saved up the money basically from the freelance jobs and built up this pot, and then right, we've got that money. We can afford to get ourselves in the office for a few months, attract some new clients, and it was that tight, to be honest. It's probably just a few months of money we had to go, and then we just knew we had to attract new clients, retain the ones we had, and do a good job. And to anyone that wants to start something themselves when they're currently employed, I'd probably advise to do something similar to what we did. I think having that the confidence of knowing you can do it outside of work, just a few small clients, or trying it out and seeing if it works, if the customer's liking what you're doing, if the customer's paying you for it, the right money and things like that. Because that's a trap you can also fall into, is not the only reason you're getting the work is because you're selling it so cheap. So that's not, again, it's not sustainable if you want to do it as a full-time business or your full-time job as a freelancer, because as soon as the salary goes from your company, you're only earning what you're charging. So I think that would definitely be a bit of advice, would be try it and sample it within your job, and then when you can see that working, you gain the confidence in that working, and you start attracting people quite quickly, I think, if you're doing it right, and you start getting referrals and people start hearing about you. And I think that's what gives you the confidence to think, right, we're on something good here. One thing we learned quite quickly was we were so used to doing things in one way, because that was that company's way of doing it. There was a big process, and things would just work in that situation within that company, because there's like 40 people doing it. But when it's just two of you in an office and you're still trying to do it in that way, you quickly realise it's not going to work. So I think that's something to really think about, is how you're going to run the company, how you'll do it differently, because your infrastructure is going to be completely different. You're not going to have people you can just call up and ask them a question. You're going to have to figure out things yourself. And I probably didn't think about that before. I probably just thought I'll go, I know how to do it all. But I didn't realise how often I was calling someone else in the business being like, how do you do this? Or can you help me out on this? So I think having a good plan about how you're going to do things, your processes, is definitely beneficial. My advice if you're looking for a business partner would be to make sure to look for someone with the same sort of work ethic. I think is really important. One good thing about myself and Anthony's relationship is our work ethics are almost identical. We're both always communicating, midnight or like first thing in the morning. We both always want to be on it to make sure everything's going smoothly. And I think if you had a business partner that didn't have that same work ethic, who was away and probably more often than you, it would probably cause the frustrations and the upsets. And perhaps that's one reason why it has worked so well, is because we both have that same work ethic. It's finding someone that is as driven as you, I think. Apart from the financial side of things, I think the biggest struggle is the sort of internal, not struggle, but the biggest learning curve has been the learning how to manage a team and to build on that team and build internal processes so the whole business runs smoothly. And especially when you're trying to build a business that can work without the directors even being in the building, one that you've got systems in place. We've created so many structures now that it can work without being here, but that has taken 2 years to get there. And we probably, looking back, could have done that in the first 6 months. If we were to know, we would have been like, right, when this happens, we go down this route. When this happens, we go down another route. And building those processes, which in the early days we didn't have, it would just be like answer the phone and do what I tell you, because we only had a couple of clients. When you've got sort of 15, 20 clients and the phone's going and you can't work in that way, everything has to be structured, it has to be processed properly.